Good morning. In this video, we will discuss procedures in MIPS. Actually, procedure is something similar to methods in Java programming or, or like functions in other programming language. It is a subroutine which performs some specific task. So let's say to calculate the sum of numbers or to print some values. So if you are going to perform that action many times in your program, instead of writing it every time, you write once and call many times. So that's the idea of procedures. Okay. Let's assume, as you know, Java programming language, how do we write a function? So you write a function or method in Java, something like um, so you have a method heading and then you have the body of the method. So this is the body of the method doing something, and you have the name of the method which is printing, and it has some parameters there. Okay, so there are some parameters that is passed to the function, and the function does something and it returns a value. Okay, so here in MIPS we can do the same thing like passing values. So this one, like you are passing A, B, C to the function method, is it? So here in MIPS we can pass values to the procedure. So if you are planning to pass values to the procedure, you have to keep those values in registers A0 or A1 or A2 or A3. So that means you can pass 4 values at a time. Okay, maximum 4 values can be passed to a procedure. Similarly, in this example, can you see here, this procedure is returning a value back to the caller, the main program. It is returning a value. So, even in MIPS, you can return values. So if you are planning to return value, keep those values in register V0, V1. So that means you can return 2 values. Okay, so you can pass 4 parameters to the procedure and you can return 2 values to the main program. Okay, so how this procedure can be called and how the procedure can perform its action and how it can come back or return back to the caller. So these are the things we are going to discuss now. Let's assume that in a MIPS assembly language programming, you write the text directive. Let's assume that you have a procedure. So you need to call procedure. So first of all, call procedure. How to call procedure is, in Java when you are having a method, you are having a method printing. So if you want to call the method, you say class name dot the method name. Is it? So you call the method. So we call it method call statement. Is it? Similarly, when you in MIPS, when you want to call a procedure, you have an instruction to call a procedure. Okay, that instruction is called JAL, which is called jump and link. The meaning of JAL is jump and link. This is L. Okay, jump and link. So the procedure may have a name. Let's assume the name of the procedure is printing. So just write jump and link and then the name of the procedure printing. So this is a kind of a label. You can write any label. Okay. So let's assume this is your main program and your jump and link somewhere here. Sorry, your procedure is somewhere here like and then a colon. It's a label. So printing and colon and followed by some statements. So these are all the procedures. Okay, so from here to here, this is the procedure. Fine. Okay then, after finishing the procedure, you need to make the control to go back to the caller. So this is the caller. So caller calls the procedure. So this is caller and the procedure is called callee. So the caller calls the procedure. When you execute jump and link, it calls the procedure. It comes to the label printing and the procedure will be executed. Let's assume the procedure is over. Now I would like to go back to the caller. So how to go back? You have another statement called jump register. So this is return to caller. So how to return to caller? You need to write a statement like instruction called jump JR, jump register, and you need to write register RA. Actually this is a register in MIPS. It contains the return address. So this RA contains the return address. So what do you mean by return address? Where to return. Okay, so where to come back? To come back to the next line, because from here I come to the procedure. After finishing procedure, I have to go to the next statement. So that is the return address. So your main program, the caller, may have some statements. So those statements will continue to execute. Let's assume that I have a exit V0, 10 and then syscall. So this will end the procedure or end the execution. So this is the idea of procedure in MIPS. So let's see one more time. Your MIPS program start with data directive and text directive. I didn't include the data directive, but you can write it. So in the text directive, you may have some statements and you may want to call a procedure. So how to call a procedure? You write jump and link followed by the label. This is the label given to the procedure. So when MIPS execute this statement, it jumps to the procedure. Okay, the label which is printing. So from here to the end, this is the procedure. We call it callee. So MIPS will start to execute the procedure. Now, after finishing the procedure, I want to return to the caller. How to return? You need to write a statement, instruction called jump register RA. So this register RA contains the return address. That means where to go back. After finishing the procedure, where to go back. That is the address of the caller, where to return. Okay, the origin. So when MIPS execute this statement, it goes back to the caller. I mean the next statement following the jump and link. And you may have some statements if you have something to do in the caller. So you may have, and this is for the exit. This is the syscall service to terminate the program. So what are the two instructions we studied here? Jump and link to call a procedure. JR to return to the caller. Here, JR to return to the caller. So here, one more thing is you can pass 4 parameters. So you can pass 4 parameters to the procedure. So before you call the procedure, you can save all the parameter values in these register A0, A1, A2, A3 before calling. Before calling the procedure, you save all your parameters, I mean the passing values in any of these registers. Okay, let's say I have to pass 2 numbers. Maybe you can choose 2 registers and load them into those 2 registers. Okay, and for returning in the procedure, if you would like to return a value to the caller, so before jump R, you return the value. That means store the value, load the value in this registers. Let's say I want to return one value. You pick any one, V0 or register V1, and you store your value, return value in any of these registers before the jump register. So this is the idea of introduction to procedure.